promised it. Elizabeth looked up into her mother's face and was puzzled to see sadness in the grey eyes. Puzzled and faintly resentful because her mother did not share her own anticipation, and it was seldom that communion between them failed.
"When will we be there, Mamma? Tell when."
She plucked at her mother's velvet cloak. "Soon," said Anne Fons. "You must have patience, Bess." Elizabeth sighed and turned to her sister Martha for response. But Martha sat very straight on the other side of their mother, clutching the bunch of primroses they had picked earlier. She looked frightened, her eyes were fixed on the carter's broad, sweaty back. She was chewing her lips. But then Martha was only 6 and frightened more often than not. Sammy, of course, did not count. He was nothing but a swaddled lump on their mother's lap, sucking greedily at the breast beneath the concealing cloak. And father? She peered around the carter on the front seat to look at Thomas Fons. He was jogging on ahead and having some difficulty managing the horse they had picked up in Chelmsford. Father hardly ever rode and didn't like it. He was a Londoner and hated the country. Besides, he had pains in his joints. Pains were part of father. Elizabeth was used to running upstairs from the kitchen with fresh coals for the warming pan, or up from their apothecary shop with a jar of leeches to suck blood from an aching knee or gouty toe.
"Ah, there's something flying by! I want it!"
cried Elizabeth, distracted by a swift rush of desire for a tiny yellow shape that danced above the hawthorn hedge like a fairy.
"Perhaps it is a fairy,"
she added, catching her breath. Elizabeth's nurse had come from this part of Suffolk and had seen many fairies. Anne Fons put a firm hand on her child's shoulder as Elizabeth started to jump from the wagon. "Sit still, Bess," said the mother quietly. "'Tis only a common brimstone butterfly. You'll see many more in the country." Elizabeth subsided while she watched the ruby-spotted golden wings flitting off so free and airy into the gloaming. Then some disturbing echo from her mother's voice reached her. She looked up and said with wonder, "Are you weeping? There's tears on your cheeks." Anne Fons bent her head quickly. "My heart is full because I'm coming home, Bess. These are Winthrop fields, and that wood there is where I used to play when I was 7 years old, like you. In a moment you'll see the pinnacles on Groton Church, and behind them the chimneys of the manor."
"Where?" cried Elizabeth. "Where?"
She peered towards the skyline of elms.
"Oh, why does this old nag walk so slow?"
But Martha shrank against her mother and whispered, "I don't want to get there. I'm afraid."
"Afraid of what?" cried Elizabeth impatiently. "It'll be rare sport with all our cousins to play with, and the ponies, calves, lambs, and dogs. Isn't it so, Mother?"
"No doubt," said Anne gently, feeling Martha stiffen. Martha ever shrank from new experience as much as Elizabeth exulted in it. May God bless and guide both of them in the years to come, since I think I shall not be here to help them. Anne felt the baby tugging angrily at her breast. The milk was lessening each day, though Sammy was but 3 months old. That might be because of the cough that racked her at night, and the distaste for food which had come upon her of late. But it might be. There was no use hiding from or rebelling against the will of God, which had certainly sent into her womb yet another tiny soul. Was it sin to exhort God that this new baby might live, as 3 had not? Dorothy, she thought, her first, born right here at Groton, she had been found dead in her cradle after their return to London. And little John, and Anne, God had taken them back too, almost at once. His will was inscrutable and must not be questioned. There came into her mind a blasphemous comparison. A husband's will was inscrutable too, and obedience to it was dreary hard at times. She glanced at the meagre figure plodding ahead on the Chelmsford horse, at the wide beaver hat flopping over the hunched shoulders. A sickly man in middle life who loved her in his fashion, and yet would not contain his love.